A lot of you brothers have emailed me about Cynthia G's commentary concerning Jamie Foxx. And of course, I didn't really want to go there because of the hatefulness and dusting it up, as we know, of that particular YouTuber over there. But of course, it's just what she does. Unfortunately, some black women hate black men so much that they got to find any way to talk about them, even though these black men have no history of denouncing black women. They have no history of confronting black women. They just leave them alone, right? And even though I'm a pro-black and I would prefer all of our brothers stay with our women, some guys, when they go away to someplace else, they don't say anything about it. They just do their thing. Unfortunately, Cynthia G is upset with that. And despite Jamie Foxx's contribution to the entertainment world and the music world, he's still a bandit, according to her. Now, this is going to be kind of hard for you to hear, and this mocking is crazy, but I want you guys to listen to this perspective, and then I'm going to come back again.
So what I mostly want to come on here and talk about is Jamie Foxx basically withering away in this hospital and the fact that his preferences are nowhere to be found. And situations like this have to be pointed out because we live in a black male worshiping culture where these bandits get to engage in the utmost form of treason. We know they loudly and aggressively promote the fact that they are with women of no color, and they can't just go sit quietly and date whoever they want to date. They have to be obnoxious about it. They have to wave it in your face, being on some nana nana boo boo, I got me a throwback, using these women essentially as a weapon against black women, and that is not okay. Because what they've been doing is telling you how much more supportive these women are, how much these women love them, saying ridiculously stupid nonsense like this.
We need to learn as black men that we have options. We got white women, Asian women, Chinese women, Mexican women, Arab women. We don't have no shortage of women that want us. No matter how bad the black woman talks about the black man in society, we don't have no shortage of women running to take us. We don't have no shortage of women that want to respect us. We don't have no shortage of women that want to marry us. We don't have no shortage of women that want to have a baby by us. No matter when they get through opening their mouth and talking how want to talk about us, and they stopping your friends who are not of the same race as you are wanting a black man.
As you heard the bandit in there sitting up talking about how there's so many different women of other races who respect them, want to marry them, love them, and want to create children with them. Yet you have a high profile black man here who is at his greatest time of need. He literally have children with his preferences and have been in long-term relationships with them. Yet in his greatest time of need, which would be the most important time to show support, they are nowhere to be found. So bandits think that they get to just sit up and say stuff and demean and degrade black women and talk about how black women are poor excuses for women. You're masculine, you're manly, you won't cooperate, you won't submit, you won't support them, you won't let them lead. But then when they go to other communities, we see either the women of no color talking about they got the same black man, which is essentially why Katie Holmes broke up with Jamie Foxx, or you see much worse outcomes. And so in this video, I want to talk about Jamie Foxx, his history with his preferences, and I want us to explore the question of why none of them are by his side at his greatest moment where he could potentially be crossing over. Even though he appears to be a treasonous bandit by behavior, nobody can take away his contribution to the music and the entertainment industry, and I don't think anybody would. But this is really not about his accomplishments, because as it stands, he is in the hospital. He has been there for a month now, and it doesn't look like things are getting better. But I want to talk about Jamie Foxx's dating history, because as we know, your interpersonal relationships and the relationships that you form long term, especially when you have children with people, they all matter, especially when you're in a great time of need, which Jamie Foxx is in. So even though Jamie Foxx has dated, or allegedly has dated, some black celebrities like Megan Good and Vivica Fox, although scandal. I don't know how many people are aware of that. Like I said, I don't really follow Jamie Foxx like that. But in his dating history, it does involve a few celebrity black women. However, the majority of the women who Jamie Foxx has been tied to, been in long-term relationships with, or created children with have been women of no color. Out of those women of no color, there are 3 of them who had some importance in his life. 2 of them are obviously his children's mothers, and one of them was Katie Holmes. We will get to the mothers in a minute. Jamie Foxx dated Katie Holmes for a very long time, 6 years actually. That's a long-term relationship. That's nearly as long as the average marriage lasts. Katie Holmes, however, is the one who ended their 6-year relationship. And I want to read something that talked about why their relationship ended. It says, according to multiple sources, Katie and Jamie were in 2 very different places in the relationship. Katie Holmes reportedly wanted commitment alongside a quiet life, working and raising her daughter Suri. I want to pause for the cause because I told you guys, with the pathology of black men when it comes to women of no color, even though they will set certain standards for black women, those standards drop when it comes to women of no color. So we hear them promoting how you don't want to get with a baby mama or a woman with baggage or of a certain age, but we typically see them lax those standards or completely drop them when it comes to a woman of no color. Jamie Foxx is obviously no exception, because Katie Holmes is the baby mama to Tom Cruise. However, that clearly wasn't an issue for Jamie Foxx because he still dated Katie Holmes for 6 years despite who she was in a relationship with. But it says Jamie Foxx, on the other hand, allegedly didn't want to end his partying lifestyle and wanted to keep things more casual, a little too casual if we are to believe some of the reasons. Now, apparently Jamie Foxx, even being in a relationship with his preference, Katie Holmes, he was still the same black man. It says it has been many years of him stepping out with other women. He's disrespectful and their lives were different. His partying ways don't fit with hers, Katie's, as she focused on raising her daughter and working. So, aside from Katie Holmes, Jamie Foxx has 2 baby mamas, one of them named Connie Klein, and this is a woman of no color. You see her here, very basic. This would be considered a second-tier woman. So, Jamie Foxx met this woman of no color who literally, in terms of her career accomplishments, he absolutely slept down, because at the end of the day, this woman, she was in the military, but she also was just a regular woman who had a regular job, as you can see, very homely looking. So one would question what attracted Jamie Foxx to this woman. Clearly the whiteness of her skin. And so her relationship with Jamie Foxx was hidden for most of the time. But in 1993, it was actually revealed that she was in this situationship with Jamie Foxx, and they had her daughter, Corinne Foxx, who is now the one who is putting out the statements, the one who announced that he was in the hospital, and the one who appears to be by his side. But that is not all, because Jamie Foxx also has another daughter, and his daughter is named Annalise Bishop, and he had this daughter with another woman of no color, and that woman of no color's name is Kristen Granis, and they had this daughter 15 years later. So Annalise is 14 and his daughter Corinne is 29. So there are 2 women of no color whose life are tied to Jamie Foxx's. Some would say indefinitely, yet we have not heard from these women. And I did some research to try and see if any of them have made statements. So it's alleged that Katie Holmes spoke out in support of Jamie Foxx in his current situation, but there's nothing that came from her account, and she hasn't come out herself and made a statement at all. And the reason this is important is because having children with someone is supposed to be a special connection. 6 years of sharing time with that person is going to accumulate some type of emotional feelings. Now, of course, at this point, I don't expect Katie Holmes to be in any deep emotional state for Jamie Foxx, but at the end of the day, the man is withering away in a hospital. He's been in there for a month. He might not make it. Yet, even the mother of Jamie Foxx's children are not by his side, which is an indication of the type of man Jamie Foxx is when he shows up in a relationship.
You see, guys, I want to really talk about something, if I can. if I can. And what I'd like to deal with is this whole idea that, you know, she's dealing with the fact that black men are disrespecting black women, even if they're not talking about it at first. If they talk down on you and call you a single mom and talk against you in her own words, like Kevin Samuels used to do, then of course that was terrible. But if you're interracially dating and you're still not choosing black women, that's still an issue. It's still disrespectful. And then he talks about the fact, or she talks about the fact rather, that, well, you see Jamie Foxx, none of his white women in his life are there in the corner as he's dying. Now, this is very interesting because Cynthia G has no privileged information as to who is in that hospital room. Like, she doesn't know. Nobody cares about her enough to let her into Jamie Foxx's hospital room or to be allowed there. She don't know what's going on over there. She don't know who's there. She couldn't tell you who's in the room simply because she's not there. She's somewhere making a YouTube video with a struggle audio system, making all that money on YouTube, and you're still sounding like you're in Folsom Prison. I just don't get it. Like, why are you talking out of a Nestle Crunch cup for coffee that you got for free? I mean, you're like, all of that money still, and the audio sounds like it is transmitted through a Jerry Curl juice bottle, Wave Nouveau in the 80s. Like, why are you still here on YouTube and you're making that kind of like where are you at? So if you can't even fix your audio, you're talking about somebody as dusty as hell. You have the unmitigated gall to call somebody a bandit when literally you sound like you're rapping over the mic like X-rated in San Quentin prison over the phone. Who do you think you are? Like, some of y'all, before y'all call somebody bandits, and y'all can't even buy a $80 microphone, but you're weaving and sounding up. You need to stop. For real, seriously. Like, the world don't take you serious. But she uses this whole point that his own preference didn't stay there in the hospital room. She ain't have no proof for that, right? But do you see the same thing for Lance Reddick? And I'm not even the person that is the most pro interracial relationship, because I'm not. I'm a pro-black. But Lance Reddick's wife was there when he died. But the thing y'all said then was, oh, look at how ugly his wife is. His wife is ugly, his wife is fat. Now, I noticed that Cynthia G don't have no smoke for Serena Williams and these other black women who, to their own credit, they don't talk about black men when they get with a white guy. They don't. Except for Ebony K. Williams, who can't even keep nobody. She can't even keep me, and I'm ugly as hell. So, but you don't see that same energy for Serena Williams when Ashanti was struggling up with a Mexican billionaire and couldn't keep him, went back to Nelly. For any of the Lonnie Love dating a broke rooftop man, you don't cover those things at all. At least me, I cover all of that stuff, right? You don't. So it's always shifting the goalpost. And now it's, oh, black men are disrespecting you when they don't choose you. But then here's the elephant in the room. Why are these black men choosing these women in the first place? Are they supposed to choose somebody like you? Somebody who agrees with your talking points? Somebody who has a hateful demeanor? And just so y'all understand where I'm coming from, let me play this clip from Dr. Boyce Watkins describing Cynthia G herself, and then I'm going to come back.
And of course, it means we all need some therapy, right? Therapy, I'm telling y'all, therapy really works. Y'all got to do it. And so you don't sort of overdo it. And if you find somebody that really loves you and you love them, then you figure out how to navigate it. You know, like don't go to the internet to ever find rules for your relationship, because the internet's full of a bunch of weird, dysfunctional people who sit and yell at the screen all day, who have horrible relationships, who don't know what the hell they're talking about. Seriously, I know some of these internet influencers, some of them who have I'm talking about people with 100,000 followers. Some of them, I gave them their first start. I put them out there. And then when I got to know them, I saw that their lives were so dysfunctional. There's one lady who says the most horrible things about black men. And what people don't know is that she had a father who used drugs in front of her. So her hatred for black men goes all the way back to her daddy. But because she's never, ever dealt with that, she just spews it out into the world and blames every problem she has on black men. Obviously, a woman like that ain't ready for a relationship.
You see, the person who's out here living in a room full of hate, you know, talking about bandits and all this other stuff, right? This is what I don't understand. If these men are bandits, what does that make you? Again, we already know, and I'm not even going to use this as an argument to what I'm talking about. We already know who she got pregnant by. I won't even deal with that, but I want to deal with this. What kind of woman should he marry? Because whenever we want to deal with why black women can't keep black men like Jamie Foxx, although he's from the black community, although Jonathan Majors lived amongst Michael B. Jordan, you're acting like these guys are making these choices because there's no Bandit Tishas there, there's no Lolo Keishas there, there's no Pookeishas there. So they're making those choices because they just love white women so much, or is it because they have sisters like you with that sort of behavior, and that men are just, no man with any sort of sense will ever put up with somebody like you. Is that the truth? I believe that is the case. Who wants to deal with somebody with your demeanor, or who remotely even resembles you? This is not even about all sisters, because sisters don't have all of them the same demeanor as you do. But for somebody that's like you, of course, somebody who isn't competitive enough, of course, you don't have no problem with a black woman getting with a white man if he's not competitive. But if a black man chooses white women exclusively because he feels like sisters are not competitive, you have a problem with that. But see, now this is not a black man who's talking down on black women. He's not saying anything about them. He's just dating who he wants to date. Why does he owe you something if you feel like they're dust anyway? Especially when y'all out here, the ones in your comments section, I'm pretty sure, single momming it up. 2 baby daddies by at least 2 dusty girls. Probably got tricked on by me. And you know, if I spend some money, you already know. Booty clapping sounds. It was already over. So this is what I'm talking about. This particular hatred and almost commenting on the fact that somebody's about to die. This hatred of certain sisters like y'all. Because if it was a black man, we would all jump on his ass if he was talking about that about a black. I would be the first. If Serena Williams was in the hospital right now, and if any of you black men start talking like that about, I will jump down the. Are you saying I'll hop off the porch? No. Why do you need to be so hateful towards our people? He did something that we wouldn't agree with in the pro-black community. But now, is a woman like you somebody that he should be dealing with? Or a woman who have your event? You're nobody to take care of. No man wants to come home and deal with you every day, talking like that. With that particular vantage point, that spirit, that dusty spirit. No. You're going to keep getting chosen over. And I would rather die alone than to deal with somebody with a dusty spirit like that. I absolutely not. No. Take your vindictive ass home. Seriously. I will stay out here with the goats. And that's a situation. You expect that somebody want to choose a vindictive spirited sister that's largely immature in her reasoning. And I'm talking about those who follow Cynthia G and act like that. That's not a way a woman should act. If a man is not, how many brothers have gotten shot down by sisters? And then if we say that we don't want to, well, you guys don't know how to handle rejection. What does that sound like? It sounds like she don't want to handle rejection, right? Ain't that what that sound like? It sound like that to me. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Drunk. Appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.